Hello.
Hey, what's up, Ian? It's Dan, casting director for the Hunt. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing great. You all set up for the interview?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, so I heard you've been giving you the rundown. It'll be super fun. Just be expressive. Get into it. Don't hold back. Don't censor yourself. It's just a conversation between me and you, so you don't have to worry about being polite or, being someone you're not. If you feel like cursing, curse. If you feel like saying anything on your mind, just go ahead and do it.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. So yeah, put the phone on speakerphone, put it down on your knee or on the table in front of you, and then whenever you're ready, you can turn the camera on. And when you're rolling, give me your name, your age, your occupation, and where you live, and then we'll start going.
All right, we're all set up. So my name is Ian Thorburn. I am 30 years old. I work in the machine shop on campus. It's the advanced manufacturing lab in the basement, and that's just a work-study job. I'm actually in school right now for econ finance with a minor in mechanical engineering.
Great, dude. Can you give me sort of like 2-minute rundown of your life in a nutshell, so to speak?
Sure. I was born in Dallas, moved to California when I was very young, played water polo most of my life. Played water polo in college for a bit, and then went through some troubled times where I thought I was kind of lost. I was still passing my courses, but I really wasn't getting anything done. Had a car accident, lost a friend, things like that happened. So I joined the military, spent 4 years in, 3 deployments, and when I got out I went on a cross-country road trip, landed in Dallas, and started going to school.
Tell me about that time in your life. How did you get through the rough times? I mean, what exactly happened, and tell me, how you overcame it.
Well, even through like high school, my sophomore and senior year, I was around. I felt like the universe was throwing a lot of weird things at me. I was witness to drowning, a few car accidents. I was the first responder to a guy that got hit by a skateboard while I was driving down PCH, and his back of his head was just blown out, and had to use a spoon to scoop out all the stuff coming out of his lungs. And at that point, I'd already been through some training, basic life support, CPR, first aid, things like that. So I was able to get him breathing again, and he had a strong pulse, but it was pretty clear that he was brain damaged. And then later in school, I had a couple other car accidents happen around me, and I was in a car accident shortly before joining the military, where a friend of mine passed away. He was sitting next to me. He's the only person not wearing a seatbelt, so lesson learned there. But I pulled everyone out of the car, and I don't have any recollection of the first part of that. I don't know how I got out. It was actually a coupe, and I was in the back seat, so I'm not sure how I got out of the car. I kind of came to walking around the car, and I guess I had already pulled someone out, and then I heard my friend screaming, "Car's on fire," and all this stuff, and went around, pushed him back in the car, unbuckled it, pulled him out, and then there's all these people standing around, but they're not helping me, so I'm yelling, "Help me, help me," and somebody comes over to help me, grab my friend Dro, and pull him away from the flames. And I grabbed that guy. I was like, "Hey, you have to help me. My friend's stuck in the back seat." And we pulled my friend out of the back seat, and I started doing chest compressions and first aid, CPR, all that stuff, giving breaths. But he was gone. He looked fine. His complexion, everything looked fine, but there's blood coming out of his ears, and I was covered pretty much from my waist down, just covered in blood and probably cerebral fluid. I'm not sure, but I'm sure he passed pretty quickly. But that was a rough time in my life, just trying to figure out how to deal with all that. And eventually I just decided to join the military, and went from there.
So did the military sort of give you extra life? I mean, was it sort of a saving grace for you?
It definitely gave me direction. Found out that it wasn't the direction I necessarily wanted to go into. I ended up in security forces. I probably would have been better suited in a medical field or something else, but I don't regret a moment of it. Got combat lifesaver certified, and I had a lot of fun on all 3 of my deployments. So it was a good thing for me. It definitely gave me direction in a time in my life where I was just kind of all over the place and didn't know what I wanted to do. So it taught me a lot of things, and I'm reaping the benefits now. I'm going to school at SMU, which is a fantastic university, and the GI Bill is paying for it, which is awesome. When I joined the military, I didn't realize they paid you. I thought they just trained you and fed you and gave you uniforms and all that stuff, and I didn't realize that they, you also collected a paycheck and there are all these benefits associated with it. So it's pretty exciting.
That's great, man. So you mentioned that even before the military, you were CPR certified and you had done a bunch of stuff. Tell me all the sort of skills that you had. I don't know, as far as like survival skills before you even joined the military, and then once you got into the military, what did you learn?
Well, I played water polo my whole life, so I mean, I'm not sure. Depending on the situation, I think being able to swim is probably pretty important. I've always enjoyed going spearfishing, usually free diving off of Mexico. I mean, probably to this day, I could tread water longer than I can stand up. It's just I've been in the water my whole life. Both my parents were Olympians and national athletes for aquatic sports, so that's. They
were Olympians. When were they in the Olympics, and what did they play?
My mom was a diver. She was in the '72 Olympics and '76 Olympics in Montreal. I believe she got 4th in one, and I think she missed qualifying by a 10th of a point in the other. And then in 1974, she was a world champion. So, for a women's platform 10-meter dive, the high dive. It's actually I'll try and include a video if you guys want it. There's a great video of my mom winning the world championship. It's pretty awesome. Very proud of her. And then my dad was a Olympic swimmer, but he was my dad's from South Africa. And because of the apartheid at the time, South Africa was not allowed to compete in the Olympics. So my dad has a gold medal in the South African Games, which is what South Africa made up, because I guess it was just kind of like, oh well, screw you, we'll have our own Olympics, and we did that. So at one point, my dad was the fastest man in South Africa, at least for freestyle and butterfly.
That's amazing. So you kind of have competition in your blood, then, is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there was no question in my mind that I was going to be an Olympic athlete at some point, so I just, that didn't actually come to fruition, but if you had asked me at any point, before joining the military, if that was going to happen, there would have been no doubt in my mind.
So, I mean, how competitive are you? Are you just like your parents?
I'm very competitive, very competitive. Was always the first guy in the water, the last one out. If I do something, I'm doing it all the way, and that's all there is to it. And when I get in the water and I'm against an opponent, I have there's no thoughts in my head about what their perspective. I don't care about them at all. Like I used to get in and just be like, I hate these motherfuckers. I'm ready to I'll do anything to win. Like I mean, that's just the mindset you get into. I'm a pretty nice guy when you meet me, but you get into a competitive or competition or a game or something like that, and it gets pretty serious pretty quick. Joni's the same way. She's an animal. She hates to lose, man. She is a very sore loser.
How do you guys know each other? Tell me about your relationship.
Well, we actually joined the military the same day, but we didn't meet each other until later. So we were probably at MEPS together. I'm not sure if we saw each other or not at MEPS, which is where they in-process you for the military in Los Angeles. And then we both went to boot camp. We weren't in boot camp together, but concurrently. And then when we went to tech school, I was in a leadership position and she was on my flight. So we met at that point, but I'm sure she didn't have real good things to say about me at that point, because I was a leader. But I was a dick. I had there was 60 people in the flight, and they're all doing shenanigans, and it's just like, God damn it, just fucking do what you're supposed to do. Shut up, sit down, get in line. There's just it's a lot of people. I'd never been in charge of 60 people before, so I was kind of an asshole, but that's what you have to do when you're trying to manage that many people. And then when we went to our first duty station at Vandenberg Air Force Base, she was there also, along with a couple other people in my flight, and just basically immediately we just became really close friends, and deployed together, and that was it. I mean, she's been one of my closest friends ever since. She's family.
Great. So what kind of obstacles did you guys have to face together out there?
Well, I mean, first deployment was in Qatar, which I wouldn't say is all that dangerous, but it's very stressful just being in the desert and being away from your family and all that, and just going through all the training and everything. But especially in the deployments where we weren't together, I didn't really call home much. I didn't write home. you know, I got some correspondence from my parents and, you know, friends back home, but I didn't respond to a lot of it. And a big part of that is, you know, they don't understand what you're going through, and at the same time, like, you can't really relate to what they're going through. You know, you maybe you get on Skype, you know, once a week or something. If, you know, a normal person would talk to their family probably about once a week on Skype, and it's like, oh, what'd you do today? And it's like, oh, I went grocery shopping, and, you know, Susie is still being a bitch at work and stuff. It's like, oh, what'd you do today? It's like, I fucking in processed like 15 detainees because they were, you know what I mean? Like, there's no commonality. So like having a conversation like that is just exhausting. You're already like mentally depleted and tired from doing 13-hour workdays 6 days a week, and you're just beat down, and you don't want to go back through all that and talk about it. So I rarely called home, but I would call Joni, you know, or I'd write her an email or something, because I don't have to go through all that bullshit with her. You know, she already knows me. She knows what I'm going through, and we can, you know, just talk about the things that we want to talk about. So that was an important relationship for me to have, at least. So she's, go ahead.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. So what kind of survival skills did you learn in the military? What did you have to get taught to be able to survive out there? And what do you think that you possess as a former military, and I know what branch you were in, but you know, what do you possess now that is going to give you an edge out in the wilderness on this competition?
Well, strictly from a military standpoint, I'd say that probably unmounted land navigation was pretty important. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to have to deal with as far as, you know, being hunted by other people, but, you know, we both went through, you know, armed and unarmed self-defense. So it's, you know, just, you know, how to fight, how to grapple, how to hurt people, and how to get the hell away is a lot of the training that we went to. And before we're going to Camp Buka, which is a detainee, it's an internment facility. We had 16,000 detainees. So before you go there, they teach you, you know, how to quickly, you know, hurt someone, injure someone, get them away from you so you can egress and get the hell out, because typically, you know, if you're in a situation like that, you're outnumbered. So, you know, we also, you know, we were trained with, you know, survival, evasion, things like that. I think those all come into play. Aside from being in the military, though, I mean, I built my own shelter, lived in it for a week in Burning Man. You know, I don't know if you know what Burning Man is, but it's a pretty harsh environment, desert environment. You do get to bring your own water and food to that, but you know, I built the shelter myself, lived in it for a week. It was I had a great experience. Like to go camping, things like that. I mean, open water lifesaver certified. I'm not sure if that would help. I'm combat lifesaver certified, so you know, first aid is always going to be important.
What about in terms of hunting? Do you know how to hunt?
I've been turkey hunting. I like to go fishing. I've never done big game or anything like that. It's just not something that I've gotten into. But I feel fairly confident.
You could probably procure food if you're out there, right? You feel pretty confident about that?
I feel very confident about that. I was actually some buddies of mine from the military were over here just last weekend, and we were talking about that, and we did a little training, learned how to make a figure 4 deadfall. So that's going to be fun to try and use. Which is just, you know, 4 sticks and a rock. Essentially, you catch small game. You know, maybe catch a squirrel or something. And I feel fairly confident I could do that. Certainly, if there's water, I'd definitely be able to fish. So make a Hawaiian sling or something like that.
Do you feel like you probably would do anything to survive a situation where it was life or death?
Absolutely, yeah, without question.
Tell me about that. I need you to say that in your own words, because my voice is going to be cut out of that. So I need you to say, yeah, I'd be able to survive a situation that was life or death, and I would do anything to survive that situation.
Yeah, I would do anything. I would absolutely do anything to survive a situation in life and death, like, without question. There's nothing that I would not do to number one, win this competition. Number two, of course, survive. I mean, there's nothing I wouldn't do. I mean, you know, I would hate to come down to like a Donner Party type situation, but you know, you do what you got to do to survive. I mean, there's no question about that.
So do you think, what's your strategy going to be out there with Joni? Like, what are you guys going to do when the bell rings? And do you guys think that, you know, would you be willing to, I don't know, form alliances with certain people and then maybe take their food if it came down to it, or you know, take some of their supplies so that you guys could actually come ahead?
It's possible. I'm not. I don't see any reason not to form an alliance, especially early on. I mean, I think more importantly, I mean, when you do something like that, you're opening yourself up in a big way. I think that evasion and survival is going to be more important early on. I mean, you have, I think what the website said was 12 groups of 2, or maybe someone just told me that 12 groups of 2. That's a lot of people, and you know, ideally you don't have to, you know, go out there and try and capture or kill or do whatever it is this is going to, you know, require to 12 teams. Ideally you let them do that to each other. So I think that survival and evasion is going to be really key early on, and I'm not sure how alliances are going to work out because I don't really understand the entire dynamic of the show, but it's going to be I could see that being important. I personally would rather you know, like to set traps and catch our own food and try and be as self-sustaining as possible. And I think that me and Joni could definitely do that.
What kind of skills does Joni have? Are her skills comparable to yours? Do you think she can hang out in the wild?
You know, I'm not sure. I know she's a good shot. She loves to fish. I know she'll be able to prepare food, things like that. Creating fire, I'm not sure if she has any ability in doing that, but I feel confident in my ability with that. I know she's in great shape. You know, I'm not sure if she was teaching yoga for a while or if she was just really badass at it, but you know, she can run, she can climb, she's in good shape. She'll be able to keep up, and you know, she'll be able to help with hunting, all that. So I have a lot of confidence in her ability.
What would it mean for you to compete in a competition like this with her?
Oh, it'd be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to competing with her, and honestly, I haven't gotten to see her in a long time. You know, we've been very close friends for, you know, since late 2004, and I haven't gotten to see her in some time, not since the road trip we went on right when we got out of the military. So being able to see her again, spend time with her again, and, you know, make some money, honestly would just be fantastic. I mean, she's very involved in you know, the veterans community. She volunteers at the Veterans Hospital. I'm pretty active in that. We started a veterans group a couple years ago at the school that I go to. You know, they'd never had a veterans organization before, so we thought it was important to have, you know, an advocacy group for student veterans. They were trying to mess with our financial aid, so we do that. We do a care package drive every semester, and we, you know, volunteer a lot of time to the Dallas North Texas Food Bank. And to various other, you know, organizations. There's one in particular, Allies in Service. Ken Larson, our president, who just got out. Actually, he works for Allies in Service as an intern, and they do a lot of great things. So, you know, it'd be pretty cool to be able to help them out with some of the funds.
How important are these organizations to you? Is it sort of like a big part of your life right now?
Yeah, huge actually. And before the military, I really didn't do a lot of you know, community service or volunteering, anything like that. And the military really makes you understand how important it is to have community and to understand like your part in the community. So when we started up the organization 2 years ago, you know, first thing we did was you know, a care package drive. You know, getting stuff out to troops in Afghanistan and Iraq. Now just Afghanistan, now that we've pulled the troops out of Iraq, but. That's really important, you know. Send them letters, send them stuff that they need, you know. Let them know that people still remember that they're over there and that they have support when they get back. You know, we make sure that we put our information in there. You know, we a lot of times these guys get out and they don't know what the hell to do. They end up at a junior college or, you know, something like that, and they don't know what options they have. So it's important for us to go out there and kind of, you know, guide them through that process. And Allies in Service, they do a great job with, you know, job placement. That's real important. Veteran unemployment is higher than any other demographic, I think. At least in Dallas it is, and you know, that's something that we take very seriously, and it's been very rewarding. You know, working with these types of organizations and actually helping people. And the community out here has been great too. There's a lot of support. I think it's just a lot of times people don't know what to do, so it's important for these organizations to kind of rally the support and show people, you know, what it is, you know, what can they do with this energy, and, you know, direct that and focus it towards something that can be constructive.
Excellent. So why do you want to do this show?
Well, Joni called me up and was, you know, she was real excited about it, and she said, you know, I think she wants to be famous. I'm not sure. for me, it sounds like an awesome challenge. I'm really excited about the challenge. I've never done just completely, off into the wild, no food, no water survival before, and that's something that I'm pretty excited about. I've always kind of been jealous of my friends that went into SEER. SEER being the military guys that trained like downed pilots to survive and evade. If their plane goes down in enemy territory. It always just sounded like a really cool thing to try and do. So that's exciting, and I mean, not just for the competition, but now that I know that I'm going to be doing it, training for that kind of competition is going to be a lot of fun. I've already talked to some of my friends that have done survival training, and planning on going to visit them and do some of that. Also, just running my ass off, getting back into peak shape instead of just this like homeostasis that I've reached right now in my life. But I'm really excited about it.
Tell me how important the outdoors is to you and wilderness and this kind of stuff. Is it a big part of your life?
Outdoors is, definitely a big part of my life. I mean, as I said earlier, I'm not really into, I haven't gotten into, big game hunting or anything like that, but the being outdoors, going camping, fishing, things like that. Burning Man was fantastic, just living out in the elements. All of it. I mean, I like getting out there. I like, challenging myself. I just did a Tough Mudder a few months ago in Austin, which is I think 14 miles or 12 miles with obstacles. Some mud run and swim with tons of obstacles. Oh, it was badass. Honestly, it was awesome. I went with two of my Marine buddies that go to school with me, and we just kicked ass. Alley-oop, throwing people over the wall, getting up there. I mean, it's a team effort, and it was a lot of fun. It was reminiscent of the times back in the military, or times playing water polo. Just having that camaraderie and team effort. Trying to attack an obstacle. It was a lot of fun, and that's the kind of thing that I.
What exactly do you have to do? What exactly are like some of the crazy activities, some of the crazy shit that goes down in Tough Mudder?
I'm glad you reminded me of all that crap, because I've got a video that I should put in there. But they've got like a 15-foot wall, so you have to climb up on top of each other's shoulders, throw each other over, pull each other up, and then there's another 15-foot wall right behind it, and they'll have things you have to swim underneath. Electrical wires will be dangling. I can't remember. It's like 10, 15,000 volts, whatever it is. It hurts when it hits you. I mean, I got hit in the base of the neck, and I'm sure it was only a split second, but everything went black and saw stars for a second. You just kind of keep going. You get hit and fall over, and what were some of the other ones? Jesus, it was a lot of fun. I plan on doing it again. I think it's coming to Dallas pretty soon. So, and that's another thing that has a great that supports a great cause. It's the Wounded Warrior Project is what a lot of the proceeds go towards that. I mean, they've raised a ton of money for the Wounded Warrior Project.
It sounds like you love these kind of really physically exerting outdoor challenges. And expand on the idea that it took you back a little bit to being in the military. I mean, did you really enjoy being physically challenged when you were in the military?
My favorite part about the military was probably the training. Honestly, I really wish that my deployments had I'd been able to exploit all the stuff that we trained with, or even gone further than the training. So, yeah, I mean, the physical aspect of it is fantastic. I mean, I loved getting out there early in the morning, and you have to dig a DFP or some bullshit, or climb through. You're doing unmounted land nav, and all you've got is a compass, or maybe not even that, and you've got to find your way to wherever the hell it is you're going. Two people, and you're sitting there. I mean, I don't know why the fuck we were doing land navigation in Philadelphia. We had a machete. We're going through the jungle, and they're preparing us to go to the desert in Afghanistan. So I don't know how the correlation in their minds matched up, but it was a lot of fun going out there and chopping through the forest and trying to figure out where you're going, and just running, jumping, getting in mud, shooting, all that shit. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I miss that. I miss being challenged in water polo too. I mean, 3-a-day practices. You'd be out there at 5 o'clock in the morning before school, and then you'd have a practice in the afternoon, and then you'd have a couple hours off, and you'd have practice at night. Those are some of the best times of my life. Because you're in just insanely good shape, and you can do anything you want, and that's a very empowering feeling to know that, like, if something happens, you're ready for it, and the only way you're going to know if you're ready for it is by doing stuff like this.
You must be stoked to do this competition then, dude. Like, I mean,
Oh, I'm totally stoked. I mean, I've never eaten, you know, bugs and grasshoppers and shit before, but you know, I'm kind of, honestly, I mean, I'm not gonna be cooking up roaches in my house, you know, to prepare for this. But you know, I'm looking forward to being in a situation where I have to do some crazy shit. You know, like, you know, eating pine needles because I need to I can't find a water source or something. I've never had to do that before, but you know, I'm ready to. I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I'm stoked just to train for it, honestly. I mean, I don't know when you guys are going to give us the you know, the thumbs up or thumbs down, but I'm going to start training for it, you know, immediately. And if I don't make it, I'm going to be kind of pissed. I hope I find out that I can't go like right before whenever the event starts, you know, so at least I can train for it the entire time and just be stoked about it.
Yeah. That's awesome. So when we got into the money, I see that, you know, you say you'll help your mom out, and you also contribute to some of these charities that you're a part of. Tell me all about that, and you know, tell me what it would mean to you to win this like a huge sum, six-figure sum of money.
6 figures that's a crazy amount of money. I mean, you know, every time you know, I've had shitty jobs before. You know, the office pool where, you know, everyone gets a lottery ticket, and you know, it's almost worth spending that dollar. I mean, lottery is really just a tax on people that are bad at math. I mean, the likelihood of winning the lottery is, you know, you're more likely to be killed by a vending machine or something. The statistics are pretty hysterical, but spending that dollar, it's worth it just to imagine what you do with that money. So I already know. I mean, from the time I was like 10, you know, I've always said I'm going to pay off my mom's house. I'm going to buy my dad a catamaran. Well, my priorities have changed a little bit since then, but you know, certainly want to donate towards, you know, Allies in Service. They're doing really great things here in Dallas, and we have a huge veteran population here. You know, and just I mean, if all they were doing was job placement, it would be worthwhile, but they're doing so much more than that. I mean, there's veterans that call them at the end of the month, and they're like, look, you know, I have no means, you know. I've paid everything that I can't pay my electric bill, you know, and Allies in Service is doing that. You know, they're helping people out in any way that they can. So they do such a broad scope of things helping veterans out that I can't imagine a better charity to donate to than them. And I actually was on the phone with Ken Larson, who's a friend of mine. He's interning with them, and Roger Staubach, I think right now is the sole you know, contributor to that organization right now. So it'd be really great to give him a little bit of relief and get some money towards, you know, a group that's doing real good in the local community. And then as far as my family's concerned, I mean, my mom's had some pretty tough times. She's, you know, went through another divorce, her second divorce, you know, which is a bummer. I don't really want to put that out there on the airwaves, you know, her personal information, but you know, financially it's been tough. You know, she's a diving coach. She's always been a diving coach. You know, so there's kind of a ceiling you hit when you're a coach, and her expenses were, you know, more than her income. You know, with the housing market crashing in Orange County, you know, it was pretty tough. You know, she's in a smaller house now that's a recent development, but she's got a ton of bills, and I would really like to take some of that load off of her. That'd be really that would be just an amazing thing to take that off her shoulders. So I'd really.
Oh, man. What were you just saying?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, so yeah, I was just saying that's awesome. But were you gonna say something else?
No, just yeah, I just would, yeah, it would be great to try and help her out, and you know, consolidate some of her debt and get it paid off so she doesn't have to worry about that stuff anymore.
Cool, man. Cool. Tell me about your love life a little bit. Did you and Joni ever have a thing? And I'm not trying to start any shit or anything. No one's gonna see this. I'm just wondering, you know, like.
No, we never had a thing. We've always been pretty close, though. You know, girlfriends in the past have been pretty jealous of our relationship. You know, so it's weird having a girlfriend that, you know, a friend that's a girl, however you want to say it, you know, that's that close. Because I mean, we can talk about sex and all that bullshit, and, you know, and I've heard all her stories of exploits in bed, and it's not, there's no sexual attraction there. Honestly, after seeing how she treats the men in her life, I can't imagine a more awful person to be in a relationship with, because she could be a royal bitch, man. She controls. She wears the pants in most of her relationships, and she really she's a force to reckon. All right, and he's back on. There is one thing I wanted to say since we're talking about Joni. I probably should have brought this up earlier because she probably won't talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is just, you know, to talk about what kind of character, you know, she has. We were slotted to go to Afghanistan together, and you know, she was on a separate team to go out there to Kandahar Air Base, that was my last deployment, and she was slotted to be on a team that was meeting us out there, and we had a buddy Myers who was just freaking out about his deployment, like really just kind of losing his shit, because he was getting ready to go to Balad Air Base, which is, you know, everyone calls it Mortaritaville, because I mean it gets hit, you know, 3 or 4 times a day with mortars, just all the time shit's blown up, you know, and it's just harassing fire. You know, it might land on the chow hall, it might land off base, you never know, but the idea is that, you know, they're fucking with you, and you don't know when that shit's gonna come down. So like, you know, if it's your time, it's your time, I guess. Well, I mean, he had just started a family, just recently gotten married, and was kind of freaking out about it, and you know, she swapped her deployment to go to, you know, a lot more dangerous place, so that he wouldn't have to go, because, you know, she knew that she had a family, and that's a friend of you know, of ours. I mean, she did that without question. She was like, you know, went up and just requested them swap it out. And I mean, I know he's been infinitely grateful, but that's not a story that she tells a lot of people, and you know, I think it speaks very deeply to her character.
Nice. It sounds like you and like she's kind of like a sister to you almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a sister that I would talk about sex with. I wouldn't talk about sex with any of my actual sisters.
Tell me that, expand on that relationship a little bit.
What's that? With Joni?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like having I don't know, it's like having a you know, a guy friend that's you know, attractive, I suppose. You know, it's kind of weird. You know, she'll go to the bar and smoke cigarettes and drink and play pool with the best of them. You know, but you know, she's got this, you know, pretty, you know, demeanor. You think you're expecting this, like, you know, innocent girl, but you know, behind that smile, you know, that bright shining smile is another row of teeth. So people need to watch out.
So you think that if you guys were paired up together for 4 weeks by yourself in the middle of nowhere, and it was just the two of you, you don't think any sparks would fly? You don't think anything like that would ever happen?
I don't know. I doubt it. You could ask her about that. I sincerely doubt it. But I mean, who knows? I mean, people go to the desert and weirder things happen. You know, they talk about, you know, beer goggles. Desert goggles are a whole lot worse. So, you know, desperate times, that's called for desperate measures, I suppose. But no, I don't have, I mean, there's no romantic feelings between, you know, the two of us. But, you know, I mean, I don't think it would make anything weird. I just doubt that it'll happen.
Cool, man. All right, that was great. That was pretty much all we need. So, once again, give me your name, your age, your occupation, and where you live, and you can turn the camera off.
Okay. My name is Ian Thorburn. I am 30 years old. I work in the machine shop at SMU. I go to school right now for economics and financial applications with a minor in mechanical engineering, and I live in Dallas, Texas.
So, really quick before you turn the camera off, actually, I want to talk about mechanical engineering. That's some pretty tough shit. It's pretty technical, and you kind of have to know a lot to be able to do that. And that, to be your career, is kind of insane. I mean, you have to be pretty smart. Is there anything that you know as a mechanical engineer or as a student of mechanical engineering that you think gives you an advantage, or, you know, intelligence-wise or practice?
Well, I'd certainly hope so, intelligence-wise. I'd certainly hope that I'd have an advantage intelligence-wise. I mean, I'm kind of a crazy contraptionist. I'm always building something. I built a t-shirt gun last summer just for a pool party. You know, you can pull the trigger as many times as you want, and we'll just keep shooting t-shirts. It's great. And I just built that because I went online and they were like $800. I was like, fuck, I can do this for $100 at Home Depot. Building a margarita machine and all types of just weird, you know, contraptions to ride around. I told you I built my shelter for Burning Man. It's 11 foot tall, 22 foot across geodome. It's a geodesic dome. It's got like 450 square feet of living space, and it's insanely strong. I mean, you can hang 5 hammocks from it and have, you know, 5 grown men just swinging around in there, and it's not going to budge. So I feel like, yeah, having a background in engineering, I'm not sure that the math portion of it is going to help me a whole lot out there in the wild, but certainly engineering and being able to, you know, build things, work with my hands, working in a machine shop, being able to use tools and construct things, I think that's going to be, you know, very valuable.
Do you ever have to like MacGyver your way out of a situation with you know, a rope and a couple twigs or something?
Never with like rope and twigs, but I can figure out how to, you know, get something fixed. And I had an RV for a while, and I was constantly fixing things with duct tape and paper clips, you know, whether it was electrical or whatever. So yeah, I feel very confident that I'll be able to, you know, get out of a situation if I get into one. I'm really hoping that we're not just dropped off somewhere with a loincloth, because you know, short of a knife, I mean, finding the right kind of rock to get, you know, a cutting edge with a rock, that's going to be a pain in the ass. So I'm hoping that we will have at least, you know, a knife. If we have a knife, I think we'll be pretty solid. I'll be able to fashion whatever I need out of that.